The signal the Galactic Council's chamber was never silent. Thousands of voices usually filled the air. Diplomats arguing, traders boasting, generals demanding new fleets. But today silence ruled. Every species in the chamber had received the same report. A strange signal, repeating across every frequency, unknown in origin. The message was simple. It carried no words, only a pulse. Slow, steady, and powerful, like the heartbeat of a giant. No one could explain it. The most advanced scanners failed to decode the source. The signal came from deep space far beyond any claimed territory, yet it was traveling straight toward Council space. High Chancellor Vaynar of the Lothari stood, his scaled hands trembling. What civilization dares send a signal like this? It is a challenge, a warning, perhaps a declaration of war. The chamber erupted with voices. Some agreed it was hostile. Others argued it was desperate, a plea for help. Yet no one could deny the same cold truth. The signal was moving closer every hour. At the outer edge of Council territory, the first scout ships reported shadows in the void. Something massive was coming through hyperspace. The reports grew stranger with every transmission. One scout's last words before static consumed the line. Not a fleet. It's only one ship. One ship as large as a city. Then silence. The Council panicked. Armadas were ordered to prepare. Entire colonies were told to evacuate. Yet even the most powerful warships in the Council Navy seemed like toys compared to the descriptions of what was coming. Grand Admiral Zurok, a hardened war leader, growled from his seat. Lies, exaggerations, no single vessel can be that large. This must be a trick to frighten us, but deep inside even he felt fear. For centuries the Council had believed they were the strongest power in the galaxy. Yet this signal, this approaching shadow, did not obey their rules. Then it happened. The chamber lights flickered as every screen across the station suddenly displayed the same image. A colossal silhouette breaking through hyperspace. The ship was unlike anything ever recorded. Its hull stretched for kilometers, plated with dark armor that shimmered with hidden energy. Spires like mountains jutted from its surface. Along its sides, countless weapons glowed faintly, dormant but terrifying. Gasps filled the chamber. Some delegates fainted. Others whispered prayers. The Council realized the truth. This was not a fleet. It was a Titan. The ship moved with terrifying grace, its presence alone making the stars around it seem smaller. Then the signal changed. No longer a pulse. Now it carried words translated by the universal systems instantly. A calm voice spoke. A voice none of them recognized. This is the United Terran Navy. We come in peace. We seek contact. We request audience. Peace. The word sounded almost mocking when paired with the vision of that warship. The Council froze. Every species turned to one another in disbelief. Who were these Terrans? Why had no one heard of them before? And why, if they truly came in peace, did they arrive in a ship capable of shattering planets? High Chancellor Vaynar tried to speak, but his voice cracked. Summon them. Bring their envoy here. Quickly! A younger delegate shouted in panic. Are you insane? If we allow them inside, we give them power over us. That thing could destroy our fleets in seconds. Admiral Zurok slammed his clawed fist on the table. Better to face them with honor than to cower like prey. Summon their envoy. We must know what they want. Outside, the Titan-Class Battleship drifted silently, casting its shadow across an entire sector of space. Alien ships swarmed around it, but none dared fire. Even the bravest captains whispered orders to keep distance. The Council station shook as the warship's energy field brushed against its shields. Not an attack, but a reminder of its power. And still, the human voice repeated calmly, We come in peace. We seek contact. The delegates shivered. Peace from such a vessel felt like standing before a predator that chose not to strike. In that moment, one terrifying thought spread through the chamber. If this was only their first ship, how many more did they have? And why had humanity built something so powerful? The Council had faced wars, rebellions, and plagues across centuries, but never before had they felt so small, so vulnerable. The Titan had arrived, and nothing in the galaxy would ever be the same. The arrival, the Council chamber was still shaking when the message ended. No one dared to breathe too loud. The image of the Titan-Class Battleship lingered in every mind, burned like fire into their thoughts. Outside, the warship moved slowly, like a mountain drifting through space. It did not hurry, it did not threaten, but its size alone was a silent warning. Compared to it, even the largest alien dreadnoughts looked like shuttles. Council fleets formed defensive lines around the station. Dozens of cruisers, destroyers, and carriers gathered in formation, weapons ready. Yet none advanced. They all knew one truth. They could not win if that giant decided to fight. The alien captains whispered to one another over private channels. It's a fortress, not a ship. I saw entire colonies smaller than that. Is this what humans use for exploration? Each question deepened the fear. Inside the chamber, the delegates argued in panicked tones. We must fire now, while it is still alone, shouted an insectoid general, his mandibles clacking with fear. Fool! A strike will doom us all, hissed a reptilian senator. What if this is just a scout and there are more behind it? High Chancellor Vaynar finally raised his voice. We will not act in ignorance. They requested an audience. Let them speak. But deep inside, even Vaynar trembled. Then the Titan-Class Battleship moved closer. The entire station rattled as its shadow swallowed the Council's flagship dockyards. Its hull panels shifted, revealing glowing lines of energy that pulsed like veins of light. Countless turrets rotated slowly, scanning the defenses, but they remained silent. On the bridge of the battleship, human officers worked calmly. Their commander, Admiral Rourke, stood tall with his hands behind his back. His eyes scanned the displays, but his voice was steady. Maintain position. Weapons cold. Shields stable. No sudden moves. Let them watch us in fear. His crew obeyed without question. They had trained for years aboard this Titan, and every man and woman knew the unspoken truth. The galaxy was watching. Humanity's first contact could not be weak. It had to be unforgettable. The battleship sent another transmission. This time it carried more than words. A holographic projection beamed directly into the council chamber. Gasps filled the hall as a human figure appeared in the center of the room. He was tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a dark naval uniform with silver markings. His face was calm, his eyes sharp. Greetings, he said, his voice clear, translated instantly into every alien tongue. I am Admiral Jonathan Rourke of the United Terran Navy. On behalf of humanity, I come to establish contact, trade, and dialogue. For a moment, no one spoke. The sight of a human was strange enough. Most had never seen one before. But what unsettled them most was his composure. Surrounded by hundreds of alien species standing alone in front of leaders who commanded thousands of fleets, the human showed no fear. The insectoid general slammed a claw on the table. Why arrive in that monstrosity? Is this your idea of peace? To bring a weapon that could wipe out our star systems? Rourke turned his head slightly, his expression unchanged. We come prepared for defense. We do not wish war. But humanity has learned. Peace is best secured when strength is beyond question. A murmur rippled through the chamber. His words carried weight. Some aliens looked away, ashamed of their own fleets. Others clenched their fists, furious at the audacity of these newcomers. One senator whispered to another, They speak of peace, but they brought a Titan. They want us to kneel. Yet Rourke's voice remained calm. We did not come to conquer. We came to speak. But if you would test our resolve, you are welcome to try. The warning was subtle, but every delegate felt it like ice in their veins. Outside, the Titan shifted slightly, its weapons glowing faintly, as if the ship itself had heard its commander's words. The council chamber filled with unease. The bravest voices fell silent. Even Admiral Zurok, who once demanded a fight, now stared at the human with narrowed eyes, unable to hide his respect. Finally, High Chancellor Vaynar rose. His voice shook, but he spoke. Humanity, you may speak before the council. But know this, your presence has shaken the galaxy. Your Titan may cast a shadow, but shadows do not rule. Admiral Rourke inclined his head respectfully. Nor do we seek to rule. We seek our place. We seek recognition. We seek allies. But never... His eyes grew sharp, his tone like steel. Never will we kneel. The chamber fell into silence once more. Outside, the Titan-Class Battleship waited, vast and patient, like a god watching over mortals. And across the galaxy, whispers began spreading faster than light. Humanity has arrived. The negotiation the council chamber had never felt so tense. Delegates from 100 worlds sat frozen in their seats as the human admiral's hologram stood in the center. The Titan-Class Battleship outside was silent. but its shadow pressed on everyone's minds. It was a reminder that humanity could destroy them, yet chose to talk instead. Admiral Rourke's calm gaze swept across the chamber. "We come as equals," he said, his voice steady, carrying a weight that silenced whispers. "We bring trade, science, and friendship, but we will never accept chains nor bow to any throne." The words stirred the chamber like a storm. Some delegates nodded, impressed by the humans' boldness. Others clenched their fists, insulted. An insectoid ambassador screeched, its voice sharp. "You arrive with a fortress of war and speak of peace? We should blast your ship to ash before your lies poison this council." Rourke did not flinch. He simply turned his head as if looking through the hologram at the warship outside. Instantly, the Titan's side panels shifted. Enormous cannons rotated into view, glowing with restrained power. The alien ambassador froze mid-sentence, its mandibles clicking nervously. "I suggest," Rourke said softly, "you measure your threats carefully." The room went dead silent. Then a deep booming laugh filled the chamber. It came from Admiral Zurok, the reptilian warlord who commanded one of the Council's greatest fleets. He rose to his full height, towering over most delegates. His scaled face carried a dangerous smile. "Finally," he growled, "a species with teeth. Too many here hide behind words and treaties. But you, human, you show your strength openly. I respect that." Some delegates hissed in disapproval. Others leaned forward, curious. Rourke gave a small nod. "Strength means little without discipline. We do not fight for glory. We fight only when forced. Humanity seeks partnership, not conquest." High Chancellor Vaynar tapped his staff against the floor. "Admiral Rourke, the Council requires proof of your intentions. Why did you build such a ship? No world needs a weapon of that size unless it plans for war." For the first time, Rourke's expression hardened. His voice grew heavier, quieter, but more powerful than before. "Because war found us. Because humanity nearly burned. Because we learned that survival requires preparation." The chamber listened in silence. "On our homeworld," Rourke continued, "we fought wars so destructive they scarred the earth. We faced invasions, both alien and domestic. Every time we were told we could not endure. But humanity endures. Humanity rises. And when we built the Titan-Class, we built it not only to defend Earth, but to remind the stars that humans do not fall quietly." The delegates shifted uneasily. His words carried scars of history, scars they could almost feel. A feline envoy spoke softly, its voice trembling. "Then you came not to enslave us, but to ensure no one enslaves you?" Rourke met her gaze. "Exactly." The tension broke slightly, but distrust still lingered. From the far end of the chamber, a sly, feathered delegate raised his wings. "And what if we refuse your request for recognition? What if we deny humanity a seat among us?" For the first time, Rourke smiled, but it was not a gentle smile. It was sharp, dangerous, and it carried the same weight as the ship outside. "Then humanity will remain free without you," he said, "and the Titan will remind the galaxy of that freedom." The delegates murmured nervously. Some saw arrogance, others saw resolve. Admiral Zurok chuckled again. "Careful, Council. This species may be young, but their will is iron. If you deny them, you may make an enemy you cannot defeat." The insectoid ambassador hissed. "We cannot be ruled by fear." "No," Zurok replied, his eyes locked on the human admiral's hologram. "But sometimes fear teaches respect." High Chancellor Vaynar's staff struck the floor once more. "Enough!" His voice cracked through the chamber. "We will not decide in chaos. Humanity will be heard. A decision will come after full deliberation." Admiral Rourke gave a slow nod. "Then we await your answer." The hologram flickered and vanished. Only the shadow of the Titan-Class Battleship remained, hanging in space like a silent judge. Delegates sat in uneasy silence. Some wanted alliance, others whispered of war, but none could deny the truth burning in their hearts. Humanity had come not as beggars, not as slaves, but as equals, and the Council had to decide, welcome them, or risk defying the might of the Titan. The test of strength. The Council chamber remained restless, long after Admiral Rourke's hologram faded. The shadow of the Titan-Class Battleship still lingered over every thought, heavier than any law or treaty. Some saw hope in humanity's words, others only danger, but not everyone accepted silence. Admiral Zurok, the reptilian warlord, rose from his seat with a grin that revealed his sharp teeth. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder. Words are wind. Ships are steel. If humanity seeks a place among us, let them prove themselves. The chamber erupted in shock. Several delegates hissed in protest, others whispered in approval. You would challenge them? High Chancellor Vayner's voice trembled with disbelief. Not challenge, Zurok growled. Test. If their Titan is what they claim, let it show its strength. If not, then humanity is only a loud voice hiding behind shadows. The insectoid ambassador clicked its mandibles in agreement. Yes. Let us see if this Titan can truly stand against the Council's fleets. Some begged for caution, but momentum was already shifting. The Council, for all its diplomacy, had always respected power above promises, and so, the challenge was sent. Within hours, Admiral Rourke received the message aboard his Titan. His officers watched him carefully, some anxious, others eager. They want a trial, said Commander Hayes, his second in command. A duel of fleets. The Council warlord will lead their ships against us. Rourke's eyes remained calm, though a faint smile tugged at his lips. A test of strength, then, very well. We will answer. The duel was set in a neutral star system, a place with no colonies, no trade routes, only a dead sun and shattered asteroids. Perfect for destruction without consequence. When the Titan arrived, the Council's fleets were already waiting. Dozens of cruisers, carriers, and destroyers floated in formation, their weapons glowing with anticipation. Admiral Zurok commanded them from his flagship, a massive battleship feared across the stars. As the Titan entered the system, silence spread across every channel. The human warship dwarfed them all, its hull gleaming with cold light. It was like a mountain moving through the void, a god among mortals. Admiral Zurok's laughter boomed across the comms. Impressive size, human. But size alone does not win battles. Admiral Rourke's reply was steady. We are ready when you are. The trial began. Council warships surged forward, weapons unleashing a storm of plasma and missiles. The void lit up with fire as dozens of ships rained destruction on the Titan. The human battleship did not move. Its shields flared, absorbing the barrage like rain striking stone. Not a single shot pierced through. Council crews panicked. Their shields are too strong, one shouted over the comms. Admiral Zurok snarled. Keep firing. Break them. Inside the Titan, Admiral Rourke gave a simple order. Return fire. Minimum output. The crew obeyed. A single cannon on the Titan's side rotated and unleashed a beam of energy. One Council cruiser vanished instantly, reduced to dust. Gasps echoed across every channel. Again, Rourke ordered. Another beam fired. Another cruiser gone. The Council fleets faltered. Their weapons continued to strike, but the Titan remained untouched, glowing calmly in the storm. Admiral Zurok roared in fury. All ships focus fire. Overload their defenses. The sky filled with fire once more, but the Titan answered with only a fraction of its arsenal. Each blast was precise, controlled, and devastating. Ships that had ruled star systems for centuries were torn apart in seconds. Within minutes, half the Council fleet was gone. The others scattered, their captains begging for retreat. Admiral Rourke's voice cut across the comms, calm and sharp. Enough, end this now. The Titan's cannons ceased fire. Its weapons powered down. The giant simply stood silent in the void, as if saying, we could have destroyed you all, but chose not to. Admiral Zurok's flagship floated damaged, shields failing, weapons broken. Yet the reptilian warlord laughed, his voice ragged but filled with respect. You are strong, human. Stronger than any I have faced. The Council cannot deny you now. His fleet limped away, defeated but alive. The test was over. When news reached the Council chamber, the delegates were struck speechless. Humanity had faced one of their greatest warlords, and the Titan had not even used its full power. Whispers filled the chamber. If this is only one ship, how many Titans do they have? Have we welcomed gods among us? High Chancellor Vayner sat in silence, his eyes fixed on the shadow of the Titan still hanging in the void of his thoughts. For the first time in centuries, the Council felt something they had not known since their rise to power: fear. The secrets of humanity. The Council chamber was still buzzing with disbelief. The duel had ended, but its memory clung to every delegate like a shadow. Humanity's Titan had faced an entire fleet and held back its true power, destroying only what was necessary. That restraint frightened them more than the destruction itself. For centuries, the Council had believed they were the peak of civilization. Now whispers of doubt filled every hall. Who are these humans? How did they build such a ship? The answer did not come from the Council, but from the humans themselves. Admiral Rourke sent a transmission, not of threat, but of history. The holograms flickered to life across the chamber, showing images of Earth. Blue oceans, green forests, endless cities. Then came the wars, flashes of fire, mushroom clouds, crumbling towers. Billions had suffered. A quiet voice narrated, "This is humanity's story. We were not born in peace. We bled for survival, often by our own hands. We fought each other until the Earth itself cried out in pain." The delegates watched, horrified as they saw images of ruined landscapes, starving people, and endless wars. But each time, the voice continued, we rose again. We rebuilt. We endured. Every scar taught us something. Every loss carved us into what we are now. The hologram shifted, showing rockets breaking free of Earth, colonies on the moon, ships venturing to Mars, then beyond. When threats came from the stars, we were not ready. We suffered invasions, attacks from raiders who saw us as weak. We were enslaved, our colonies burned, and once again we endured. The chamber sat frozen. Many alien delegates glanced at one another. None had known humans had been attacked before. None had known they had been enslaved, then freed themselves. The image changed again. Factories the size of cities, engines blazing, giant shipyards floating in orbit. And there, rising among them, the Titan-Class Battleship. Its armor forged in silence, its weapons built not for conquest but for survival. This ship was not made to conquer, the voice said. It was made to ensure that no one would chain humanity again. It was made so that when we speak of peace we can speak as equals, not as prey. Silence filled the chamber. Even the proudest species felt their confidence waver. An avian delegate whispered almost to herself, "They built gods out of machines." And they built them from pain. The insectoid ambassador, still bitter, snapped its mandibles. "And how many titans do you have? How many of these monsters have you forged in secret?" For a moment Admiral Rourke's hologram was silent. Then he answered, his voice calm but heavy. "Enough." That single word shook the chamber. It was not a number, but it was enough to feed the imagination of every world. Some imagined dozens. Others imagined hundreds. No one dared ask again. High Chancellor Vaynar finally spoke, his tone strained. "Humanity. You hide your scars well. But scars make a species dangerous. Why should the Council trust that you will not turn these titans against us?" Rourke's gaze grew sharper. "Because we know what it means to be broken. We know the cost of tyranny. We do not seek slaves. We do not seek crowns. We seek a place where our children may grow without fear. Deny us that and yes, we will fight. Grant us that and you will find no greater ally." The chamber fell into silence again, but this silence was different. It was not disbelief nor pure fear. It was something heavier. Respect. Some delegates lowered their heads. Others clenched their jaws. For the first time in centuries, the Council felt they were staring at a civilization forged not in luxury, but in fire. Later in private halls, whispers spread even faster. If they built one Titan, they can build more. They endured slavery, and now they stand like this? Perhaps. We should not see them as rivals, but as shields. Even Admiral Zurak, who had fought them, spoke with newfound respect. To his closest advisors he growled, "I thought them reckless. But they are disciplined wolves, not wild dogs. They are dangerous, but danger is not always an enemy." That night many council members could not sleep. Every time they closed their eyes, they saw Earth's history, wars, fire, and the Titan rising from the ashes. For the first time, they realized humanity was not only powerful, humanity was inevitable. The alliance or the end, the council chamber had never been so divided. For days after the duel and the revelation of humanity's history, the delegates argued endlessly. Some shouted for war, others begged for peace, and many feared what either path might bring. The Titan-Class Battleship still lingered outside, silent and patient, like a blade resting in its sheath. Its presence was enough to stop the council fleets from daring another move. Even the most aggressive admirals hesitated. They knew one command from Admiral Rourke could turn their proud armadas into burning wreckage. Inside the chamber, tension reached a breaking point. "This is madness," cried the insectoid ambassador, his mandibles clacking furiously. "If we allow them into the council, we give them power over us all. Today they ask for recognition. Tomorrow they demand our colonies." "They demand nothing," shouted a feline envoy in reply. Her fur bristled as she rose from her seat. Did you not see their history? They fought to be free. They do not want our thrones, they only want to stand beside us without bowing. Admiral Zurok's gravelly laugh shook the hall. You are all blind. Humanity will not kneel, that much is clear, but they will not beg either. If we push them away, we make them our enemies. And tell me, who here wishes to face a fleet of Titans? The chamber grew silent. No one spoke. Finally, High Chancellor Vaynar rose. His scales gleamed in the dim light, his face etched with worry. Admiral Rourke has made humanity's intentions clear. They do not seek war, but they do not fear it. The Council must decide. Will we embrace humanity as equals? Or will we cast them out and prepare for war? The question spread like fire through the chamber. Every delegate felt the weight of it. This was no longer about one ship. It was about the future of the galaxy. As the Council argued, Admiral Rourke stood aboard the Titan, watching from afar. His officers reported every word, every threat, every whisper. Commander Hayes turned to him. They're split, sir. Half want to welcome us. Half want to destroy us. Rourke's expression never changed. That is politics. Fear speaks louder than reason. The question is, how far will their fear drive them? Hayes lowered his voice. And if they choose war? Rourke's eyes turned to the stars. Then humanity will fight, and the Council will regret their choice. Back in the chamber, the debate reached its peak. The insectoid ambassador slammed his claws on the table. I say we strike now. Call every fleet, every weapon, every soldier. Humanity cannot face the galaxy united. But Admiral Zurok growled in reply. You fool. Did you not see? That Titan fought our fleets with restraint. If they hold back such power, what happens when they unleash it? Even united, we may not prevail. The chamber roared with conflict. Voices overlapped, threats flew, promises clashed. Then the chamber lights flickered. A transmission forced its way through every system. Admiral Rourke's hologram appeared once more, calm and unshaken. He did not wait for silence, his presence demanded it. You sit here in fear, debating our worth, he said. You wonder if we will conquer you or if we will kneel. But humanity kneels to no one. We came offering peace, but peace must be chosen. His voice grew harder, sharper. Understand this. If you embrace us, we will stand by your side. We will defend your borders, fight your wars, and trade our knowledge. You will gain allies who do not break. But if you cast us out, if you raise your fleets against us, then you will not face Earth alone. You will face the Titans, and when that day comes, there will be no second chance. The hologram vanished. Silence followed. For the first time, the Council saw its future clearly. Alliance or annihilation. High Chancellor Vaynar closed his eyes, his chest heavy. The vote must be cast. But know this, whatever choice we make will echo for centuries. Delegates prepared their decisions, some with shaking hands, others with cold resolve. Fear whispered in every heart, but so did respect. Outside, the Titan waited silent as stone, a judge in the void. The Council had a choice. Extend a hand, or light a fire that could consume the stars. The new order. The Council chamber had never felt so heavy. Every delegate knew the moment had come. The vote would decide the fate of the galaxy, accept humanity as equals, or risk war with the Titan that hung outside like a storm waiting to break. High Chancellor Vaynar raised his staff. The choice is before us. Vote now. One by one, the delegates pressed their seals. Glowing marks appeared on the chamber walls, green for alliance, red for rejection. The air was thick with tension as the colors spread. Some species voted in fear, others in hope. Some hesitated until the very last second, their hands trembling. Finally, the tally was complete. The chamber walls pulsed with light. Green outnumbered red. Humanity was accepted into the Council. Gasps and cries filled the hall. Some cheered, others shouted in outrage. The insectoid ambassador shrieked in fury, his mandibles clattering. This is betrayal. You doom us all. You invite wolves into our den. But Admiral Zurok rose to his feet, his scaled face fierce. No, we invite warriors into our ranks, and better to have wolves at our side than at our throats. The chamber quieted at his words. Even those who opposed the decision could not deny the truth. Moments later, Admiral Rourke's hologram returned. His face was calm, but his eyes carried something deeper. Pride. So the Council has chosen. Humanity thanks you. We will honor this alliance with loyalty and with strength. You will find us stubborn friends, but true ones. High Chancellor Vaynar inclined his head, though his voice trembled. Then let it be known. Humanity is recognized as an equal member of the Galactic Council. From this day forward, their voice shall be heard, their fleets respected. The declaration echoed through the chamber, carried across every channel, every world, and outside the Titan-Class Battleship released a low, resonant hum as its energy shields dimmed. It was as if the giant itself acknowledged the moment. But while the council chamber tried to breathe, fear still lingered. Whispers spread quickly. They have one Titan here. How many wait behind? What if they grow stronger than all of us combined? Have we welcomed allies? Or our future rulers? In secret, some plotted. Plans were whispered in shadows. Schemes to watch humanity, to learn their weaknesses, to be ready should they ever turn against the council. Admiral Rourke knew this. On the Titan's bridge, he stood with Commander Hayes, gazing at the stars. They voted for peace, Hayes said softly, but many still doubt us. They should, Rourke replied. His voice was steady, his eyes sharp. Doubt keeps them cautious. Fear keeps them honest. Let them wonder how many Titans we have. Let them wonder what we will do if they betray us. That is how we secure respect. Hayes hesitated, then asked, and if they ever do betray us? Rourke's gaze turned hard. Then they will learn what humanity has already learned. Survival demands sacrifice. And humanity never breaks. Back in the council chamber, Admiral Zurok approached High Chancellor Vaynar. You fear them, Zurok growled. I can smell it, Vaynar's scales tightened. Fear is wisdom. Humanity is dangerous. Zurok bared his teeth in a grin. Yes, and that is why I will stand with them. Better to march with fire than be burned by it. For the first time, the Chancellor said nothing. He only looked toward the stars, where the Titan drifted like a silent god. News of the Council's decision spread across the galaxy within hours. On distant worlds, civilians whispered of humanity. The species that arrived with a battleship larger than cities. The species that survived their own destruction. The species that dared speak to the Council without fear. Some called them monsters. Others called them saviors. But all agreed on one truth. Nothing would ever be the same. On Earth, when the news arrived, people gathered in the streets cheering. They had not just survived. They had entered the galaxy with honor, not as slaves or beggars, but as equals. The Titan turned slowly, its engines glowing like suns. It left the Council's capital system with quiet dignity, its shadow fading from the station. But the memory of its presence remained. In every council chamber, in every fleet commander's mind, one image would never fade. The day humanity's Titan-Class Battleship arrived, and the galaxy itself trembled, and somewhere, deep within the void, other Titans stirred. Waiting for their time, humanity had been recognized. Humanity had been feared, now humanity would be remembered.